Hi guys, Vechs here. Welcome back to Davion Shipyards. And I must be some kind of vampire because I don't see my reflection in this glass here. Huh. Interesting. Today we'll be working on a ship. And I'm not even entirely sure what purpose this ship is meant to serve. Well, I know. It's supposed to be a relatively inexpensive Corvette designed for speed, exploration, reconnaissance, and observation. uh, it ought to be fairly effective at shooting down meteors, rockets, small craft, as it bristles with Gatling turrets. It has 4 dorsal turrets and then 2 on the underside of the ship. I think I might put even more on it though. Not quite sure yet. But she's meant to be a fast, relatively inexpensive Corvette as far as capital class ships go. I'm intentionally avoiding heavy armor because I want the ship to be lightweight. I'm going for a light Corvette. I want this thing to be able, I want to be able to build this thing, and I gave it the very basics. At the core of the ship, I basically put down, when I made the ship, I essentially started with the floor plan, the very basic floor plan of the ship, and worked from there. I divided the ship into 3 compartments. The ship is separated by 3, or I should say 2 bulkheads. One is right here, right there where my crosshair is, and another one is right here. So there's basically the rear compartment, which is where the production items are, the refinery, the assembler, and the arc furnace. It has 1 of each. And I'm trying to limit how much... wait. I'm still using the conveyors because they take less motors. And motors are the expensive thing because those suck up your nickel and your cobalt. Everything else in here is just stupid iron, and iron is just like whatever. I mean, nobody cares about iron. Iron is everywhere. It's super plentiful. It's found on every single asteroid. So it's always the motors I run out of. And I was just looking at the difference in the price here, and the conveyor tube, as far as motors go, is 4 times the price. I mean, it's a little cheaper as far as construction components, which is iron, to build those. But it also takes silicon. So the conveyor takes iron, nickel, and cobalt to build. The conveyor tube takes iron, nickel, cobalt, and silicon. So that's 4 resources versus 3. So I really like the normal conveyor blocks better. They also connect better, and they're better for rigidity because they can hold blocks from all sides, whereas the conveyor tube will let blocks drift apart unless they're touching from the 2 ends. So that's my theory as far as why I want to use conveyor blocks instead of conveyor tubes. They seem to be better all around, except for maybe iron cost. But I don't give a damn about iron cost. It's mostly about the specialty resources. I noticed something else. Gatling turrets, in the grand scheme of things, they're kind of cheap. Like, if you compare the cost of the Gatling turret as far as the steel and the iron, again, it's mostly don't care really about the only thing on there is the motors and the computers. That's it. The rest is just a pittance of iron to make the rest. So yeah, Gatling turrets, pretty dang cheap, so I should feel free to spam them a little bit more than I do right now. Alright, so let me give you a tour of the ship as it exists now. The main entrances are on the side, and I'm using symmetry mode because I really like that. So it is symmetrical. So you come in here in the midsection. This area doesn't really have a name. It's sort of just the midsection of the ship. The only things of note here are the conveyor system up above, running through the center of the ship, the entrances, and the gyroscopes, mounted, tucked away in little armored nooks out of the way. From here, you can go forward up the ship to the fore end of the ship. You come into this area here. The main bridge is up this ramp, and I've actually taken a liking to using the simple armored slopes for ramps, because you get up them just as easily as you can these other ramps, and these take all kinds of specialized resources, while this takes just steel plating, and it's quite effective. You just run up and down it like normal. And no, oh god, no, don't quick load. I was trying to go into third person. And there's plenty of clearance here, so that's not an issue. So my inspiration for this was kind of like World War II bombers, how they have a lot of visibility all around. So here's the main bridge. There's 3 control panels in case you want to rock some manual control with your friends of these turrets here, or if you want to deploy drones, or just as backups in case one gets killed and you got to hop in the other one. But here's the main pilot seat, where I'd probably spend most of my time in this seat here. It has, as far as you can look around, it has basically excellent visibility. There's windows everywhere you can look, except for down, but you know, whatever. So you can look everywhere. And then down here, go down. I need to put lights. I haven't put lights in the ship yet, so please excuse the little bit of darkness. Here's just some side windows. There's another bridge. I didn't have this here originally, but I kind of thought to myself that without the control station here, I don't know, it was just kind of empty. Like it's just observation deck, basically. It was an observation deck. Like, that's all it was. I mean, you can just come down here. But doesn't this feel like a World War II bomber? Like a B-17 or a B-24, where it's got the glass nose cone, and it has excellent visibility, and you can just, like, walk down here as the ship is flying and just look out. I think that's pretty cool. So it has great visibility. And even when you're down here, you can look up through the glass. There's the sun. And look up through the glass of the bridge. It's got weapons on it. Combat's not really the main emphasis of this ship. It's mostly exploration, and that's why I gave it the refinery and the assembler. So it's almost kind of like your respawn ship on steroids. Like, it's kind of like a jack of all trades, general purpose exploration ship. Oh, and down here is a lower observation deck. This, you know what this reminds me of? Zeppelins. Like from the Indiana Jones movie, where they're up in the Zeppelin and they're fighting Nazis. You come down here and you can just, it's like a lower observation deck. You could see the guns swiveling around as they scan for targets. Now the engines I've tucked away in these armored little nacelles. Instead of just having the engines exposed, I think it looks cooler too. I'm not done with the bottom of the ship. I don't like how it's just completely flat. From a practical standpoint, that's good for the Gatlings, though. That means that nothing is in their way off to the sides. So again, I want to balance aesthetics versus practicality. But the bottom's not done yet. It is a little too flat. I want to do something. And is there anything else? The forward area houses middle and lower observation decks, and then the main bridge up here. And then there's a back door that leads just out into space. In case you needed to evacuate the bridge in a hurry, you could come out this way. I probably ought to come in here and put all the doors in one group, and then I'm going to say close them. Close all doors. Let's head back down. And I have to immediately open the door. Inside here is just a conveyor block, but I wrapped it up in armor plating for looks, just for aesthetic purposes. This is the... I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call it the gyroscope compartment, for lack of a better name. And then here's the engineering compartment. It's also got the gravity generator and the medical bay. And some passenger seats to recharge energy and production blocks. It's powered by 2 small reactors. I do have room here to add 1, 2, well, more. Let's just say more. Actually, I'd add them right up here. I took them up here. 3 more reactors if I wanted to. Quite easily, and I think I will, because these are 2 large engines here. There's a small viewport here to look out the back. There's the crowbar off in the distance over there, so you can just see behind the ship. There's no windows here because this houses a valuable area of the ship with lots of very important components, and I felt like windows were too big of a compromise on durability for the rear area of the ship where the really valuable components are. In fact, there's actually, if you noticed, and I don't need these walls here, these bulkheads, but they add durability to the ship in case forward fire is coming through the ship. They'll impact the bulkheads. And this right here is engines. Engines are tucked in here. You can see the engine, the base of the engine here. But that protrusion into the cabin of the ship, and then this here, this light armor here around, if you're looking to the front of the ship from this angle, that and this would serve to stop weapons fire coming straight through the hull. And if you close the door is going to be hit, and the bulkhead's going to be getting hit. So from the front, the most important section of the ship is towards the very rear, and there is indeed a backup bridge here. But looking down, you can see there's another set of gyroscopes towards the rear, and then you've got your side. The bulk of the side thrusters are towards the rear. There's a few. I like scattering thrusters around. It's good for redundancy in case you lose some of them. You still have some mobility. Some is better than none, obviously. It's always kind of annoying to do the front thrusters because you need the front thrusters, but they mess up the design of your ship, is what I often find. It's like, oh, you made this cool looking ship from the front. Like originally this was very... I had to change this design of the front. Originally it was very sleek up front, and I was like, oh wait, I have to install thrusters pointing forward, and I didn't want them just hanging off the side of the ship, so I wanted to mount it in the frame somewhere. So this is what I worked out as a compromise. I still think from the front it looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with how she looks so far. In fact, I didn't want to go ahead and paint her, but I kind of can't resist the urge to just throw some red up at the very front. And then maybe down the side right here. Like that. I'll just paint the whole thing red. Red ones will go faster. Yeah, that's going to look pretty cool. I'll take my time and paint it later. I was just curious what that was going to look like. Let's get all that red off for now. It'll return later, don't worry. Alright. So I think this is a cool view from up here. You can see all the subsystems in the ship. I've left it open while I'm working on it. The bottom's already closed up, but the top is where I get at the parts. The Gatling turrets are spaced 5 blocks apart. I thought that was a good distance to make sure they don't try to shoot each other. I think they'll be reasonably intelligent in that regard, but if the ship gets moving, we all know how the bullets get dragged into the ship as it's moving. So the main focus of the ship is going to be broadsides. So basically, I want my enemy about right here. I want an enemy to be about right here, and that's going to mean 6 Gatling turrets blasting at the enemy. And I think that ought to be pretty good firepower. If you want more firepower, you could always swap one of the Gatling turrets for a rocket turret. Although they nerfed the rockets pretty heavily, I think. Oh, this is where the engines are tucked in, that little slot there. I like the way that looks. So, more tucked in engines back here for durability's sake. And then semi-tucked in engines all around here for more redundancy. So we have left, right thrust, forward. We still are missing up and down thrust, and that might actually be an excellent candidate for right here, as I left this area open, and I was thinking of coming in. Now what's... Oh, damn, that's the door right there. Okay, yeah, that cannot be taken out, so we basically going to come in here, I think, and just do this. Maybe like that. Just fill that in. And there we go. So now we've got... I don't like that. That's bugging me. I'm just thinking. I wouldn't mind another round of Gatling turrets, but I don't know if there's room on that, because they actually take up a 3x3 space. They take up more space than you would think. Now, I kind of want to put something right here. What's under this? That's floor. That can't be taken out. That needs to stay there. I'm actually kind of tempted to just come in and put some armor here. No. I don't know what I want to do here. I'm not totally happy with it, but I'm not exactly sure what to do. This part right here doesn't look bad. It's okay. Alright, let's go take a look at other areas for now. Maybe I'll come back to that later. Overall, though, we're on the right track. Now, is there anything else I need inside here? I think it's time to go ahead and convert it to a ship. Alright. We're at just under 1,000,000 kilograms, or I should say 1,000 tons, 1,000 metric tons. So rear acceleration sucks, but I knew it was going to. That's okay with me. Turning, pretty good for a capital ship, I think. Yeah, that's pretty good turning. Let's take her over. Let's just fly her towards the sun. Yep, that's exactly the problem I was thinking that would happen. The large thrusters are huge. Let's see. I'm going to turn off the symmetry mode. And let's install, thinking 3 more. And I guess we can just use the backup bridge here. Take control from back here. There we go. Alright, excellent. Strafe accelerating, I hit 94%. That is perfect. It's okay to overload occasionally, but as long as I can accelerate and strafe at the same time, we're fine. We have more up and down thrust, and it's spread out so that no one thruster is vulnerable to a missile hit. And we have our connectors here for docking. Alright. Now the ship is taken together a little bit more. So my goal was to make a light Corvette. Corvettes start at around 1,000 metric tons. So my goal was to make a light Corvette that was fast and had great visibility and was good for exploration and was able to protect itself, especially from small fighters and meteors, with a large complement of Gatling turrets. What have I made? I have made a light Corvette with great visibility that has a large array of Gatling turrets, that has... oh wait, we're not done. Oh, we got to do interior decorating. I think I'll time skip that. I've used up enough of your time today. We've made a light Corvette with great visibility, with a great complement of Gatling cannons, that has a backup bridge in the back. It has multiple bulkheads. It uses light armor. I like to think that it uses what light armor it does have. It uses it intelligently and effectively, with strategically placed divisions in the ship to protect the very important components towards the rear of the ship. It's got everything you would need. It's got a medical bay, gravity generator. It's got... oh, here's the storage. It's one cargo container. This is mostly just to give you access to the ship storage from here. That's about it. And yeah. So I think we're doing pretty good. I'd kind of like an access point to the ship's storage from here as well. There we go. So you can access the storage from right back there. So I think I've done what I set out to do. Anyway, let me time skip for you, and I'll interior decorate the ship. Be right back. Okay, there we go. She's been interiorly decorated. Just got some interior lights stuck all over the place. Nice and symmetrical. Looks pretty good now, I think. And I painted the exterior a nice white and red color, like I have been my military ships so far. And I think she looks pretty good. All you'd need to do is just give her some uranium fuel, give her some ammo, and I think she'll serve you pretty well. Let's access the controls. I think I'd like to lock up the doors. And I guess I'll turn the Gatling turrets back on. What are they shooting at? Oh god. Oh my god, they're shooting at the crowbar. That's okay, I guess. You know, actually, that's not too bad. What else does she need? She needs we're almost done. Just a few last little details to wrap up. We need a beacon and an antenna. I was thinking of attaching the antenna to the rear here. Actually, maybe putting it, it's not acceptable for it to go on there because of the hitbox of the stupid Gatling gun. Or here. Actually, you know what? So actually, that's not a bad idea. Can I put the antenna right here facing... Ooh, a forward-facing antenna might look kind of cool. No, roll over. Like that. Oh, that's really cool. And that means you can see the antenna from the observation deck. Oh, I actually really like that idea. There we go. We needed something to fill that in. Actually, that looks really good. Even the red color on it, red coloration on it too. I really like the paint job. It just looks kind of neat. The bright red makes it look very aggressive and sleek. Kind of like the namesake, a Corvette. Anyway, let's see. Now we just need the beacon, which I think I know a perfect spot for the beacon. Like how I closed all these doors and I'm just running back in here opening them. Meanwhile, the Gatling cannons are just chattering away, going nuts. So back here, we have this nice empty space in the corner. Boop! There we go. Beacon. It's a nice counterpoint to the cargo container here. Now, let's see. The Gatling turrets, let's pull that in about 600 meters, a little bit closer. Everything is owned by me. The antenna, that's fine. The beacon, this is a Davion. This is a Spyglass class. Corvette. There we go. Alright, it's got gravity, power, refinery, arc furnace, assembler, multiple backup bridges. Should I put a remote control block on it and cameras? Well, the remote control block is not very expensive. Where is it? It's, there's the camera. There's the remote control. I mean, it's nothing. Wow, the remote control is just nothing. That's really cheap. Okay. So this would be one of the more critical blocks that I'd like to have back here in the back. Maybe, in fact, go ahead and get off of symmetry mode. But this is definitely one of the blocks we'd want mounted towards the rear of the ship, where it'd be more safe back here. I was actually thinking, where to put this little guy? I kind of like the original. Oh, actually, wait a minute. I like it right there in the middle. The remote control right there. Yeah, I like that placement. So it can be remotely controlled. Now, as far as cameras go, definitely want a frontal camera. Let's swing around here and see if there's a good spot on the front of this thing to put a camera. Not really, no. I didn't leave myself any flat areas, unfortunately. I didn't leave myself any flat areas that I could just stick a camera on up front. Are you kidding me? Not a one? Not a single one. That's kind of funny. Alright, well, I always wanted a chin. Boop, there we go. Forward-facing camera. That's a very natural spot for one, in fact. Alright, so it's forward-mounted camera, rear-mounted camera. I was kind of wanting one that looked forward, but from, like, the... Oh. But from back here, you guys know what I mean, right? Like being able to see the entirety of the ship. Well, there's always the option to do this. And then stick you right here. I kind of like that. So oh yeah, that's great. See, that way you get to see all the Gatling guns firing by remote control when you're controlling it by remote. Yeah, that's really cool. Alright, and we've got our connector here. Our rear-mounted Gatling gun. I kind of wouldn't mind. Well, no, I guess that's okay. We don't need any more. I was thinking of putting more connectors on there for the sole purpose of recharging drones. Not to connect them to the conveyor system, but just to recharge their electricity. But, you know, we've already got those two there, so I think it's okay. Oh, I really like this ship. I think this has come together great. And it's definitely very angular and faceted. Lots of nooks and crannies. So hopefully some of you guys that were requesting more ships that used lots of indentations and angles and stuff and weren't so boxy. This is a very non-boxy ship. Like there's very little area that's just completely flat, except for maybe the top right here. That's for obvious practical purposes. There's friggin' Gatling guns and they need clear lines of fire. The bottom down here used to be flat and has since been filled in by a very by engine nacelles and then the antenna and then the observation deck. So it's no longer flat. And yeah, I really like this ship. I'm sorry, I'm really happy with how this has turned out. Let's get can we get the final weigh-in with all parts attached? It's 1.1. 1.1 on the nose. Wow, I called that. I'm quite happy with that. Called that. Let's accelerate. Let's accelerate and strafe at the same time. So, thrust up and down. Let's hit those dampeners and come to a stop. So that's pretty cool. I like that. So with 6 Gatling guns, I hope she's got a pretty decent broadside. So that is just into the weight class of the Corvette, according to the community guide that I'm operating under. Like that is the lightest thing that's can be called a Corvette. And it's made up of mostly a lot of glass and light armor. But she's fast and pretty maneuverable and has respectable firepower, I should hope. So Control B. And this is the... Oh, right, I named the ship Spyglass Corvette. Well, I don't even need to rename her now. Actually, yeah, I do. Rename. I'm trying to keep these... this is Corvette Spyglass class. we go. I know it's not a sword or a melee weapon, but a spyglass is something that you keep on you. So I think that's an alright name. And it's time to publish her. Boop. Yeah, sure. I think that would qualify as a decent thing to find. And it doesn't use any modded blocks, so there's that. And there we go. Alright. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the ship. I had a lot of fun making her. I'll definitely want to build this thing in the survival world and just use it to explore and drive around in, and hopefully she will keep me safe from meteors. And maybe we can even use it to go fight some stuff and see how she fares in combat. I'm kind of worried about the front of the ship, but if you look at the side of the ship here, it's mostly light armor. And that 6 Gatling gun broadside, I think she can give as good as she'll get. Well, anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Until then, as always, take it easy.